and welcome to the Art of Costume podcast. I'm Elizabeth Joy Glass.
And I am Spencer Williams, and thank you for joining us for one of our very first Rewind episodes.
Yeah, have we done one before?
Not on purpose.
No. No, but this week we're going to revisit one of our favorite season 2 episodes just to get us in the mood for spring, and we needed a little bit of time. Yeah. Before we come back from spring break.
We're still in the spring break mode. I mean, we're outside reading books and drinking tea. And
you're falling asleep on your patio.
Yeah, Elizabeth has walked by and caught me sleeping with a Lord of the Rings book on my chest. So I did have a book. So that's
very true
these days. So we wanted to, while we're still getting ready for the next part of our season, we want to give you all one of our favorite episodes, which was done so long ago. So we're assuming many of you haven't heard it. We are, of course, talking about Ari Aster's terrifying but beautiful film, Midsommar.
You forced me to watch this for the podcast, and I was so happy and so mad at you.
Yeah, I remember when you were watching it, and like I wanted to text you so bad, being like, "She's probably having a bad time, but the best time."
Yeah, literally, it was so fun.
Yeah,
it's been one of our top episodes.
It has,
but it's been 3 years almost since we released it. Yeah, this was August 2022.
Wow.
So we figured it was time for just a little rewind, a little revisit for you all.
So listen to this episode. Also, it will be on YouTube with images for the first time. We didn't have that last time. You're going to probably be like, wow, they sound so young and their mics sound so different. Yeah, we've evolved. So that's kind of the fun of these Rewind episodes. So we hope you enjoy. After the episode, make sure you come back and we're going to play our favorite game. Well, I guess it's not a game. We're going to give it a Stitch rating.
We're going to give it a Stitch rating. Stitch ratings didn't exist when we released this episode.
It didn't exist. And this might have been the first season we started doing one costume to rule them all.
I think so. We didn't do the first season. We definitely did it for Midsommar though. Yeah. So you can hear our thoughts on our one costume to rule them all and then our new Stitch rating.
All right. See you after.
Hi, I'm Dan, who does all the magic behind the scenes. I wanted to say thank you, and if you want to support the show even farther, go to tpublic.com/user/theartofcostume, where you can buy a couple variations of our logo on t-shirts, mugs, and stickers. Also, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're an audio listener, leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast. Now, back to the show.
Hello and welcome to the Art of Costume podcast. I'm Elizabeth Joy Glass.
And I'm the making Spencer Williams.
Spencer, we should have had flower crowns for this episode.
I know. What were we thinking?
I don't know.
Elizabeth, we are at the end of our hot girl summer.
We are. And we have the hottest, the steamiest hot girl summer episode. Spencer, what did we watch this week?
This week, I'm so excited that I convinced Elizabeth to watch this. We watched Midsommar, everyone.
Whew.
Wow.
That was a movie.
Yeah. I knew it was a risky choice for getting Elizabeth to watch, but this is one of those films that's so popular right now. For some reason, Gen Z loves this movie, which, I mean, it's an amazing movie. I love it too.
Yes.
But it's just like becoming such a cult classic. And it's going to be one of those movies that's, recognized for its costume design years down the road, even though it wasn't nominated for an Academy Award. But,
Yeah.
But Florence Pugh absolutely kills it in this film.
She does.
This is like her masterpiece, and the costumes are top tier. It does not get better than this. I'm very excited to talk about it.
I'm so excited to talk about it. Let's jump into it, Spencer. Give us that summary.
All right. In the middle of an unimaginable loss and a relationship she knows is clearly over, Dani finds herself in a Swedish commune that follows ancient traditions and seems to have everything she didn't know she needed. And that is Midsommar.
If you haven't seen Midsommar, go rent it somewhere. Anyway, going behind the wardrobe, we have director Ari Aster and costume designer Andrea Flesch. Her notable works are the series X Company, Colette, and Operation Mincemeat, which actually looks pretty interesting. My dad's been watching it.
Oh, that's awesome. I never heard of it, but the title sounds crazy.
I think it's based off like a true World War II story. I'm not positive. I don't know. It's that era.
Well,
it's set in.
As far as underrated costume designers go, Andrea Flesch is it. I mean, she kills it with this film. I mean, to me, it's like Crimson Peak, Dracula level costuming this film is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like Dracula, it was a joint effort between all the departments. Andrea said to Bustle, "These costumes are not coming from some original historic thing, but also Henrik Svensson, the production designer, we work very closely. Sometimes his designs inspired me, or sometimes he asked me to design a costume, and then he adjusted his designs to the costume. And a lot of people were helping us. The people who drew the runes, all the paintings on the wall. These paintings inspired me, and I used motifs from them on the costumes." Which I was like, when they walk into like the communal like lodging, I was like, gorgeous. Like, I would Airbnb a bed there. Like, I'll risk the ritual murder.
I'm tempted to say I'll go with you, but I don't know.
All you have to do is like be nice to them and not like insult their traditions, I think. That was everybody else's problem.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'd have to be convinced, but as you know, I'm very easily convinced.
I mean, as I said, if I ever do truly have a mental breakdown, this is where I'm going. But you see it and it's beautiful. And then we do get close-up shots of these paintings on the walls. And I was kind of shocked, like, how similar they were to the costumes.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, like, what came first, the production design or the costume design? Sounds like it was happening at the same time, which is really cool.
It was like back and forth. And I'm like, I love that. That's how films should be made.
Yeah. I'm shocked that she said that this isn't based off some historical thing, because you would think, like, this is very, like, referencing a lot of culture, a lot of history. But if they just created this, that's even more incredible.
Well, Spencer, I think we were both ready for a break. And when we get back, I think I'm going to answer some of those questions for you.
Yeah, some of the flowers are starting to move, so I need to go lay down. All right, Elizabeth, are you ready for your dreams to come true and go visit the Harga?
I am so ready to visit the Harga, Spencer. So ready. And so was Andrea. She was ready to get into this Swedish commune. She said that to Bustle that Ari knew that he wanted to have the Harga in white. And also that we have to do close as possible to Swedish folk costumes, which at first glance, that is what they absolutely did. However, Andrea found after some research that Sweden doesn't really have any more of those kind of costumes or materials. And then because of Sweden's apparently like strict filming restrictions, the production decided to branch out and shoot in Hungary instead of Sweden. And Andrea also decided to branch out with her research. She said to Bustle, "I found out that folklore in the whole world has something in common. So I started to search the whole world. What are similarities in Swedish folk and other folk? And I found a lot. So the traditions were my idea to use other countries' folk costumes, which are similar because there's this idea that everything is one in the end, which that really ties into the story.
Yeah, that's very interesting and kind of shatters my entire world. Like,
right?
There's a lot happening here and I'm obsessed with it.
Which, that makes sense. I mean, all of, like those European countries, they're all right next to each other, but they all also have their own folk traditions. So it's like, yeah, they're all going to be a little similar and have like, some similar like flavors and styles to draw from. But one of the fantastic things about filming in Hungary were their resources. Andrea told Bustle, here you can find all the fabrics. So I bought tons of 100-year-old linen fabric and embroidery.
Whoa.
And I tried to find embroideries in Eastern Europe, which looked like they could also be Swedish.
That is crazy.
So they're like, okay, we're shooting in Hungary. And she's like, okay, let me see what's going on in Hungary. And she's like, oh, 100-year-old linen and linen embroidered? Come on.
Yeah, this is nice.
So, isn't that wild? Some of these costumes are like 100 years old, technically.
I love that. It just feels so real and authentic. And like looking at the costumes, it's very convincing. It's very believable.
Absolutely.
And also what I love about it, the fact that it pulls from so many different countries. I've talked to Whitney Ann Adams about this too, who we had on for an episode back in the day, who did a costumes for Paranormal Activity, the most recent one where they dive into a cult. And it's crazy because they're trying to portray themselves as Amish, but they're actually like this pretty sick cult. And it's kind of interesting now thinking about like this, commune is definitely giving like cultish vibes.
Yeah.
So you think that they're like, oh, it's just like another Swedish commune, but something totally different that's almost appearing as something to the outside world when it's something totally different.
Yeah. Well, what I find interesting about the Harga is they have been there 100+ years.
Yeah.
Like it's not like they're like modern Swedish people who decided to revert back to older traditions. They never lost their old traditions. They've just learned to hide them from the rest of the world. So that's what I kind of find interesting about them.
Yeah.
Also, like we said, all their embroidery, all their costumes all look very authentic. And Andrea said to Deadline that the costumes, it should look like they do their costumes themselves and everybody has his own costume. That's why it was also very important that all the costumes looked different. Some of them are better made, some of them less, to see the difference. It's not come out from a fashion house or a factory.
Oh, I love
so
that.
She's like, these people, everybody made their own thing. Or it's like their wife made their, Midsommar costumes. They all made their own.
The embroidery is just amazing. Every time you see it go across the screen, you're like, wow, that is stunning. The craftsmanship.
Yes.
I bet you Andrea's team was hardcore.
Absolutely. She talked to Bustle about the embroidery. She said, we used a lot of original embroidery, which we copied and shaped. And we also made a lot of new embroidery. There are very good people in Hungary who can make it. So she just got all these Hungarian embroiderers and we're like, go wild. I also love these shoes. I ended up not being able to find the quote, but she mentioned in one of the interviews that not everybody's, but some of them had runes on their shoes. And I believe this is a set from the movie where it's like even the shoes have their little runes on them.
The attention to detail is amazing. And can I just point out like all the hats we saw throughout this film? Or
oh my gosh.
head pieces. I'm not even talking about the flower crowns. I'm talking about like
just the hats.
Like the red piece
Yeah.
That's so good.
That woman who's like the master of ceremonies.
Yeah.
she looked incredible the whole time.
Yeah. And then
I was like, ooh, get it, girl.
The creepy guys that go into like the barn and whatnot that have like the string hats that are just, I guess they're more like masks covering their face. Ooh.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
spooky, but like also so chic and like kind of couture.
They have style. The Harga have style.
They do. They wouldn't admit it.
This cannot be denied.
Yeah, but they definitely do.
Also, I mentioned this at the beginning, but they go through, the Harga go through kind of a color transformation. And Andrea talked about this to Deadline. She said, the concept was that we started the movie all in white. And as we go further through these 7 feasts, everybody dresses up more and more colorful. Then every feast had a color. I don't know how much you can see this in the movie, but the idea was that at first we'd use only red. Then we put some blue, and then some yellow, then some green, and in the end, all the colors come together. Yes, I noticed that too. And I love it. So I have the picture from the first sacrifice? Where, everyone's pretty much all in white. There is some blue embroidery here and there. There is some red embroidery. You can also see someone with gold embroidery, which she did talk about a little, like, you know how they talk about like the 4 seasons of life? They did kind of ascribe like a color to each. She didn't really go too in depth in it, which I did, so I didn't add that.
Death, I believe. Right?
Gold is death and like this winter season.
Yeah.
So, which all the people who are about to die.
Yeah. Yikes. Yeah, I definitely noticed that. Like looking at that first cliff scene, which we have to talk about in a second, everyone's wearing white, but then one of the characters who, she just hooked up with Danny's man, she's like in full like floral print with red and green in it.
At the end of it, yeah.
The actress's name is Isabel Grill, who's incredible in this film.
Yes.
Stunning. She's like in full floral print. So it's so cool. I love it.
It's so good. And I love the scene where they're all crying with Danny because they all have like all these flower embroideries all in different colors. Like everyone is decked out by that last day. Yeah. Decked out by the time it is time to decide the May Queen. Spencer, after our break, are you ready to talk about something iconic?
Before we take a break, I wish I could pay money to see your reaction when the cliff scene happened.
I was mentally prepared. Was not mentally prepared quite for how graphic it was.
Yeah, it's pretty hardcore.
That did take me aback a little bit. I think it was at that point that I started multitasking and playing Animal Crossing. But yeah, I was a little more prepared for this, I think, than most people, but it was so stressful.
Yeah, very stressful. I do not know how Gen Z... It's mostly... I'm saying Gen Z because I have a lot of Gen Z friends who have told me this. I'm not making this up. Who like have this as their comfort movie. They like have it on in the background. I'm like, it's sick. Granted, I do watch like animal attack documentaries when I'm trying to relax and do like work. So
yeah, but that isn't people murdering and sacrificing other people.
Yeah, it's just mountain lions murdering and attacking people.
Yeah, that's nature.
Yeah, that's cute. Let's take a break. It's getting hot.
Spencer, are you ready for a bear of a costume?
This costume still gives me the chills. I've seen this movie a few times, and I was at my desk, and I was also multitasking to like help with the anxiety, and I could hear the like a bear dissection happening behind me, and I was like, I'm not prepared.
So from that podcast, I kind of thought like they knocked him out and then he was just in the bear costume. I didn't realize he was like awake and watching the whole process.
Yeah, I'm glad that they didn't show them like stuffing this poor guy into the bear costume.
Yeah.
Like, granted, I do not like this character. I thought he was
a jackass.
Yeah, he was a piece of work. He was a interesting guy. But the idea of stuffing this man into a bear suit really gives you the spookies.
Yeah. Andrea talked a little bit to Bustle, just kind of about the sacrifices and ceremonies. She said it was Ari's idea that the people who will die, they will wear gold because he created a color code. The whole film starts in white. The first ceremony, they wear blue and gold always comes back when somebody dies. The May Queen ceremony, it was green, of course. And the animal sacrifice was red. And as we go further, more and more colors, and the color becomes more intense in the final ceremony.
Yes.
Which absolutely.
It's intense. But going back to the bear, like, I don't know how this happened. It's so crazy to me. I don't know how they did this.
I know. A Vanity Fair article talks a little bit about it. They didn't quote her directly, but it was an artificial piece made from furs by a separate Hungarian prosthetics team. And she said it took weeks and weeks. So
shocking.
I couldn't figure out if it was like synthetic fur, because she does say it's artificial, or if they just took like multiple bear hides.
I don't know.
And put it together.
It looks so realistic, though. It does. Pretty crazy.
There are really good synthetic furs now, though.
Yeah. I mean, the character's face when he's just stuck in the bear costume, that's my face the entire movie, basically.
Yes. I think that's everybody's face the entire... He really deserved it, though.
All right, take this bear image off the screen. I can't look at it anymore. Yeah.
Are you sure it's cuddly?
No.
I don't know it's cuddly.
I don't want to look at it anymore.
Well, how about some flower crowns then, Spencer?
It actually is. That's what's crazy about it, is looking at Florence Pugh in these costumes is refreshing to look at.
Yes.
Like, it's just like so visually pleasing.
It's so visually pleasing. And I love, like, we see flower crowns throughout the entire movie. Especially, remember in the Northmen episode, I mentioned that like that's like an Eastern European tradition.
Yeah,
is the flower crowns. So you see them like throughout from the very first day onward. But then Danny, in this like single day, she goes from like the standard like, oh, I'm in the May Queen competition flower crown to this one that looks like they put a basket of flowers made of flowers on her head.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it looks like with this, like, flower bib. That's adorable.
It's adorable, and it works perfectly against the white.
Yes.
It's just so beautiful. And the breathing of the flowers, because everyone's high AF in this film, really trips me out.
I was like, ooh, let's go visit. Yes, but then I love how it slowly but also very quickly builds to her May Queen gown, which is just flowers. Andrea says in her interview with Bustle that they wanted her to look like she had put a meadow on. And it's like, she does. She does.
This is one of the most iconic costumes in history. And I've had the pleasure, when you come out, Elizabeth, we have to go see. It's currently at the Academy Museum in its full glory.
Yes.
I mean, I have this print behind me on a wall. It is so beautiful in person. I mean, the screen obviously does it serious justice, but just seeing it in person, like, I've seen people cry in the museum just standing around it. It's so
oh my
cool.
gosh. I can't wait to see it. So Andrea said to Vanity Fair about making the dress. The first idea was, of course, to make it from real flowers. But because it took so long to make, it was not possible. Which it's like, yeah.
That's so funny. They're like, that should be dead by tomorrow.
Yeah. Because I'm like, sure, you can dip flowers in wax and they last longer, but it's like it doesn't look the same.
Come on, that's not going to work.
Oh my gosh, what if they almost made it like a chia dress though?
Oh, that would be cool too.
That would be cool. I just thought of that. Like have the root systems like within the, okay, anyway.
It's not shocking to me that it's not real flowers. That doesn't. No. There's a lot of things that don't make sense about this movie, but that really doesn't make sense.
No. Yeah. That would not have made sense. She told Bustle what they did instead. She said, "We made this dress from around 10,000 silk flowers. First, we had to make a pattern for the base of the dress, and under the dress, there was like a hoop skirt to give it the contraction she can really wear it," which is like, okay, that makes sense. I did not expect her to move at all in this dress. I thought she was just going to stand there looking pretty. Yeah. And then she's like screaming and like walking around. And I was like, oh.
That's my favorite, like 5 seconds in the, well, it's longer than that. That's my favorite part of the entire film is when she's walking in it. Because that's what you think too as like a costume designer. Like, there's no way that thing moves. It would fall apart.
Does.
And then she starts walking and you're like, whoa, that's intense.
Yeah. No, it was so heavy. They had to give Florence Pugh a chair to sit on underneath it.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like in between takes.
Yeah.
They were like, here's a stool.
I'm sure she sat in that costume for hours and hours and hours. So.
It was probably so hot.
Ugh, yeah. Summer.
She probably got to wear just like nothing underneath it though.
Probably.
It's
one of the most beautiful costumes ever. And the crown is so interesting too, because it's not like a regular crown. I love the 4 like spires coming off of it.
Yeah, it's almost like branches of a tree. Like growing up. That's what I thought it looked like.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then it's like, of course, there's 4 for the 4 seasons that they're celebrating. Mm-hmm. But Andrea talked about the crown a little bit to Vanity Fair. She said, like the dress, it also became very heavy, the flower crown in the end. It was very hard for Florence to wear it. The original design wouldn't even stay on Pugh's head. It was incredibly beautiful, but we had to make it smaller. Which I'm like, what was the original idea?
I know. Like smaller than this? This is huge.
Because I mean, even looking at the sketch, it doesn't look crazy. That looks more practical than what they did, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, that's difficult. I can't imagine. I've seen some people on TikTok, just gonna shout it out. Some people were saying like, oh, this is impressive. It's just a bunch of flowers thrown together. Clearly, these people have no concept of how costume design work.
No.
I'm sure this took hours, weeks, lots of preparation. It is art. This is just top tier costuming.
Her entire team was sewing and gluing these flowers on. And like, honestly, to get an artificial flower that looks that real is extremely expensive.
Yeah.
It's not cheap or easy to make fake flowers look that real. Because honestly, like, I didn't even really question whether or not they were fake. And when I read that, I was like, it makes complete sense, but it still kind of blew my mind.
Yeah.
Because it looks so good.
Yeah, because it's such like a wild assortment of flowers too. Like there's no part of the dress that's like similar. It's, very assorted.
No, and it's aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah. It's Alexander McQueen to me. It's just like high fashion. What's more impressive to me than anything is the fact that it survived too, that she was able to walk in it. That to me, the fact that it didn't fall apart, wasn't just hot glued. Because if it's just hot glued, she'd be leaving a trail behind her. This thing survived and is in a museum.
Yeah. Like within less than 5 years, it became so iconic that they put it in a museum.
Right.
Like,
and I believe it's next to a Joan Crawford costume. Down the hall from the Wizard of Oz. all in all, I just think this film is incredible, and that May Queen costume is just will always remain iconic. Was this even nominated for Academy Award? I don't know, but I think no.
That's a shame. It should have been, because this was a lot of very well thought out, well constructed, thoughtful costumes.
Yeah.
It should have been nominated.
For sure. Elizabeth, do you want to play our favorite game, even though I feel like there's no point?
The one costume to rule them all. There is only one costume to rule them all this week. It is the May Queen gown.
Elizabeth,
Spencer's not even trying to argue with me.
No, Elizabeth didn't even let me give my answer because we both know there's only one choice.
There's only one choice. Because let's get real. All of the people from outside the commune looked kind of trashy.
Yeah, they were
like
the annoying American tourist, which, hey, I've been there, but yeah. I never pull out my greatest fashion going on trips.
But yeah, like everyone not from the commune looks kind of trashy. Everyone in the commune looks incredible. But then this is just on another level. And like I said, within 5 years, iconic enough to be in a museum. So
yeah, it's the May Queen. It's it's probably one costume rule them all, like of them all, like if we were to do a one costume to rule them all competition, this one would probably jump to the top. So
it would be in the top 5
for sure.
Like this and the Lucy gown would be neck and neck.
Yeah. Oh, that would be
gives me real Lucy Bram Stoker's Dracula vibes.
We should do that like contest on Instagram. See, fight it out.
We're gonna figure this out. Yeah. We don't have enough red dresses this year. We have to figure out something else.
Right. Elizabeth, I'm so glad you watched this. I know it's crazy, but like it really packs its punches with the costumes.
It does. It does.
Thank you all for listening.
Thank you all for listening. If you loved this episode, please leave us a little 5-star text review on Apple Podcast and or Spotify. Everybody, have a fantastic week. Spencer, that was so much fun.
I know. It's so weird hearing our voices, especially like that.
The old mics.
Yeah, I know. It was such a fun one. Like I remember just like pitching this episode and being like, I know it sounds like a crazy film, but it is. It's so beautiful. The costume design by Andrea Flesch is just so beautiful, and it's a spring classic.
It is,
or summer. I don't know.
So I think a summer classic.
Spring summer.
Because season 2 is also when we started Hot Girl Summer.
Right.
And you were like, I have a film for you. Yeah. And I was like, do you? Do you? Yeah. I was like, I have specifically not watched this film.
Yeah. So looking back on it now, what do you think you would have gave as your Stitch rating?
For my Stitch rating, it is a solid 5 out of 5 stitches.
Wow.
It's couture level.
Yeah.
It's got a hand on embroidery.
Oof.
And you look at it and you're like, what? And then you see that the actor walk across and you're like, oh, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a beautiful film. I think the acting is phenomenal. The costumes, of course, the sets. I think just the story in general and the horrifying kind of like elements you see to it. So yeah, I was gonna say a 5 out of 5. Yeah, there's nothing about it that I don't like, except that it's terrifying. That first 15 minutes, like, still sits with me. So, yeah, I mean, this is a typical 5 out of 5 film. I don't watch it all the time because it freaks me out. But, like, it's a solid film.
Yeah. Like, if someone was like, what's one of, like, the top 5 or 10, like, best films you think have been ever made, I'm like, that would probably make the list.
Oh, wow.
Because like I don't think there's really anything I would change about it or like have criticism for.
Yeah I can't either. So maybe we should revisit our one costume rule them all and see if it's changed at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Spencer, has your one costume to rule them all changed?
No, probably not. It's the May Queen dress.
Yeah. Same.
Though,
Same.
honorable mention, because we didn't do honorable mentions. I think watching Florence Pugh's boyfriend be put into a big old bear suit would be my honorable mention. I mean, that's pretty cool.
And I gotta say, whenever I see a couple do a Midsommar Halloween costume and the boyfriend is in the bear suit and the girl is the May Queen, I'm like, you've got a good relationship there.
Ooh, we should make this for Chloe and Daniel. Like, we're going to ship them the May Queen. Can you imagine Daniel dressed as a giant bear?
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing.
That would give me serious life. Daniel? Save room in your closet.
Save room in your closet. Don't listen to this part of the podcast. It's a secret.
Oh, this is so fun. I'm so glad that we got to do this, and I hope you all enjoyed.
Yeah.
Let us know if we should continue to do a little bit more of these rewind episodes. I think it's a good way of showing some of our great work with some of our newer listeners that might have come along with the Hunger Games and the Marvel films that we did later on. So let us know in the comments. Send us messages. You could always email us at theartofcostume@gmail.com. Of course, follow us on Instagram and TikTok at The Art of Costume or Art of Costume Pod. We have a merch store, which is linked below. And also we have our Discord, which you could join, find a link below as well, and get to connect with other costume nerds. Elizabeth, I'm very excited. We have some great stuff coming up.
Yeah.
Some things that we can't talk about that we're still working on behind the scenes.
Yes.
I can say for sure that we have a great Star Wars month coming up in May.
We do. Lots of fun guests.
Yeah, we're having a little party. Our May first episode in May is it May 4th, 5th, or 6th? Whatever that Tuesday is, we are going to be watching Star Wars The Phantom Menace.
Yes, we've made it to the prequels, everybody.
We did it, and I'm so excited. We have some special guests for that. And, we have all sorts of things coming down the line. We have a serious list of things going on. So
we do.
We're going to get to work after this. Thank you all for listening, and happy Midsommar.
Happy Midsommar, way too early.
Yeah, way too early. Happy
get ready.
Break.
Get ready. Get ready for Midsommar. Get ready for Hot Girl Summer. Ooh, and have a fantastic week.